Hi, folks. It's Paul Ramsey, and I am joined by Karen Hand-Harper, who is presenting a 1 hour seminar at the 2017 NGH convention. The title is The Magic of Metaphor to Make the Change for Good. Karen, how are you?
I'm great, Paul. How are you today?
Good, good. I'm glad to have you here. This is a popular topic, and yet it feels to me like it's a popular topic in our community when people talk about how they do what they do, yet I don't see a lot of people present on it. So I'm so glad that you're presenting on it and helping people understand it better. Hey, how did you get into hypnotism?
So, maybe a circuitous route. I was actually a radio personality. I had a 30-year career in Chicago on the air, on the radio. And one of the things I did was a talk show with a psychiatrist. We did a relationship type talk show. And one day I wanted to have a couple of hypnotists on my show to, make people bark like dogs and cluck like chickens and look silly. And I had these hypnotists, local hypnotists on, and they didn't do that. They talked about all of the ways that hypnosis can be used for good. And I became fascinated. So I went to their center, I got hypnotized, and I said, oh my God, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And I started studying, I became a hypnotist, and I opened a center here in Chicago, and left radio to become an entrepreneur.
That's cool.
It was very cool.
That's
Very cool.
cool.
I was the local centers that I went to first. I was their spokesperson for about a year, and their business just went through the roof. So it seemed like radio and hypnosis could be a marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of all the things over the years that you've learned about hypnotism and all the ways you've enriched your skill set, why did you choose to present on metaphor?
I present on a number of different things, Paul, because I think we need to be well rounded in a variety of things. But I like to present on metaphor because early in my career, I heard this line that the client will always present to you their script, what they need. They'll let you know exactly what they need. And I thought, how will that work? And I learned then to listen to the metaphors they use in conversation. Are you aware that we use about 6 metaphors per minute as we talk?
Come on.
Yes, 6 metaphors a minute. And if you listen for it, you will hear. Now, we think sometimes about I'm spiraling downward. Obvious metaphor, correct? But we also have frozen or fixed metaphors that we use because when we communicate with each other, we are transferring what's in our head, trying to get that into someone else's head, right? We know that we're making pictures all the time. We're constructing reality in our head. And our words are ways to get our thoughts into somebody else's mind. We do that through metaphor. And some fixed metaphor might be like one. If we use the word one, that's a fixed metaphor. We all know what that means, right? But that really narrows down the focus of what we're talking about. So when you look at it in that way, we're using about 6 metaphors per minute. If we train ourselves to really listen to the client, they will tell us exactly what they need and exactly how to get there to help them make the change they want to make.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I teach. I know a lot of effort goes into teaching rapport, and I think rapport is very important, but I
Sure.
think we develop rapport by leaving our stuff at the door and then getting into the zone with the client and hearing where they are. Then we
Yep.
come to them from where they are.
Yep. That makes sense to me.
Good.
Tell me about when you think about the content and what you're going to share with people. Tell me more about where you think the even more value. I mean, I'm getting it already, but for people who maybe don't, let's hit them over the head with it a little bit more. Like, how's it going to help them go back and do better?
So I know when I first got into the business, I used a lot of scripts. In fact, my business was based on a script business. And it certainly can work. A whole business can be built on that. But I discovered that some of the scripts that I had just didn't mesh with what the client was asking for at the moment. And I would start to panic. Oh my gosh, what will I do? Until I learned the light bulb moment that I don't need all the answers. I don't need it ahead of time. I shouldn't really have it ahead of time. I should find out where the client is, what they want, and then we can go from there. And so that became my light bulb moment. And it really relaxed me in hypnosis. I don't have to be the wizard. I don't have to be the answer man. or woman, as the case may be, I can just sit and listen and help them navigate their world. I like to think of myself as the human GPS. I help them navigate to the destination they want to get to. And we do that, I do that by listening to what they had to say, by taking notes on what they want. And then we can help reframe their limiting beliefs, help them come out of whatever they're stuck in, mired in, waiting in, however they phrase it, and help them get to where they want to be, to the destination they want.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karen has just done it. She's laid out everything that you need to know so that you can make an informed decision about whether this is a good way to spend your hour or not. All right. She's covered it really beautifully, really articulately. This is the work that we do with people. And this is how there are many ways to think about the work that we do, but she's just really covered one of the best ways to think about what we do, I think. And so, if you need to go back and listen to her again, watch this interview again, and either you're going to have a sense of like, yeah, this is someone that you can hang out with for an hour and that you can learn from, or not. And that's what these interviews are about, is trying to help you figure out how you want to spend your time at the convention. So
come on over and
covered it.
Well, I'll give you some of my favorite metaphors that you can use with clients, but I'll teach you how to elicit their metaphors.
Yep. Karen, if people want to learn more about you, what's a good way for them to do that?
They can go to KarenHand.com. That's my website, KarenHand.com. Or my book will be out in hopefully by convention time or right after convention. They can look for Magic Words and Language Patterns. The Hypnotist's Essential Guide to Crafting Irresistible Suggestions.
Good for you. Way to go. Very cool. All right, you guys. Now then you can say you hung out with a published author. So that's even better. You know you're using your time. All right. So just to recap, Magic of Metaphor, Friday, August 11th is the first Friday of the convention at 11 a.m. with Karen Hand-Harper. Karen, thanks for making this time for me.
Thank you for doing this, Paul. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thanks so much.